Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Pathetic Podcast. Joined with me always is my good pal Christian. He's beautiful, he's great, and he's a weeb ass. I almost called you a bitch, but dork. Good guy. Dorky.
I'm kind of a bitch.
I mean, we all are a little bit weird.
I mean, I don't watch Lilo and Stitch, but I'm kind of a bitch.
We are kind of a bitch, watches Lilo and Stitch and Richie Rich.
Richie Rich, yeah.
Followed by the Will Smith movie, Hitch. Again, as always, my name is Pat, but most famously and most importantly I'm known by my extremely massive Twitter account at Scented Gladbag. So if you could just take a break, turn this podcast off, don't watch it. Go to Twitter and follow at Scented Gladbag on Twitter.com. Strongest army on Twitter, biggest account in the world. We have a new jingle. Chili.
Hi, welcome to Chili's.
Baby back ribs. Actually, that's that's my jingle.
For a second there, I thought you were singing Davy Crockett. So like,
Davy.
Yeah, like the same notes are hit there.
But anyway, follow at Scented Gladbag on Twitter.com. Follow Pod Pathetic if you want to follow us. That's the one that he answers. Not important. Who cares? That's the official podcast Twitter, but my Twitter at Scented Gladbag is the official podcast Twitter.
Yeah, the podcast Twitter is what you go to if you ever actually need anything, questions about the show, if you want to know any of the equipment we use or anything like that, anything of actual value, you would ask the podcast Twitter because I will answer.
If anyone's listening right now, they fell asleep on their laptop that's on their chest. Oh, thank you that was a hair.
Dog hair.
Because I'm glad it wasn't one of my hairs. Some bold claims to just get out of the way while we're here. Maybe some promises that I can't keep, but at Scented Gladbag on Twitter, most popular Twitter account of all time, most followers there has ever been on Twitter. No bigger account, strongest army on the internet, strongest army on Twitter.com, at Scented Gladbag on Twitter. Follow at Scented Gladbag on Twitter.
Which also, it's giving a cancellation at this point. Make sure unscented Gladbag for all of you people who agree with me that this monster needs to be stopped.
Hey guys, wake up. I know you just fell asleep. Wake up, everybody. Follow at Scented Gladbag on Twitter.com. Also, A Pathetic Podcast, strongest, most followed podcast on the internet. On top of that, we have a show that's going to be premiering on PAX right before Doc. A Pathetic Podcast on Christian Drama Network.
I feel like we made the claim that PAX is a Christian network, but we didn't bother to determine if it actually was or not.
It stands for Pentecostal Apostle Xerox.
Xylophone.
Pax.
That's what everybody uses the X for, xylophone.
Did you ever not have a phonetic alphabet printed out when we were working at a call center and you were like, Z is in xylophone?
No, because I just went Z as in Zeta, like Zeta? Every normal person who has an intelligence of any type.
Z is in Xenon Girl of the 21st century, and then I would shout out Protozoa, greatest pop artist on this earth and beyond.
Have you noticed that most recently in all of our group chats and everything, my favorite thing to say lately has been Yeetus Lapidus?
Okay, please. I know it's a Harry Potter spell because I've just been throwing spells.
No, that's from Xenon.
Is it really?
It's Zetus Lapidus, but it's yeet. When you yeet on somebody, you say Yeetus Lapidus.
Oh, okay. So for a second, I thought that you Because I was making a joke about something or someone that looks like they don't have an upper lip, and I thought that you were saying a Harry Potter joke about yeeting a lip. So I thought you were saying yeetus lepidus, like
I'm saying yeetus lepidus, like Zetus lepidus from Xenon. Why is my decom knowledge so much better than yours?
Dude, that's because if something has a fucking lore, you follow it. Anything. I can be like, I watched A Bug's Life the other day, and you'd be like, dude, A Bug's Life goes so much deeper, and don't fucking get it crossed with ants, dude. It is a...
I mean, that's true. You can't get it crossed with ants. It's a completely different theme there.
If something has a fucking... Again, back to you being a dork, if something has a lore, you know it. Which is impressive.
I'm sorry. I can't help myself, okay? It's like a tick, you know? I just have to learn everything I can about everything. That's why I like anime, because I'm a fucking dork who likes to learn shit about shit.
But yeah, PAX. What KTXA?
Can you explain what DOC is, by the way?
So DOC, which I plugged was... Okay, so there's every now and then I'll remember something, and I completely... will think I've made it up because nobody will remember it, and it's usually him that will remember. One was allegedly there was a Dr. Pepper commercial that I remember growing up that nobody else remembers, and I can't find any evidence of it online, where the jingle was like, "Nothing's better, Dr. Pepper."
We have talked about that on the podcast too.
I'm sure we have. It's been many episodes now, but like nobody else remembers that but you, so you're keeping me anchored on that.
I'm telling you though, that was a local thing. I'm pretty positive that was a local thing.
Desperate to find it because
we're gonna tag Dr. Pepper to like figure this out.
Dr. Pepper
at Dr.
please.
Pepper. Did you used to have a little advertisement that said "Nothing's better, Dr. Pepper"? Maybe it was local to Texas.
I'm gonna put a note in here to tweet.
Tweet at Dr. Pepper.
Dr. P. Tweet from P to Dr. P. Today on Tweets from P to Dr. P.
We just need to find it out.
Okay, so hold on. Yes, I've got it. I remembered. Doc was a really bad daytime network TV drama for like stay-at-home moms. I guess.
Was it like a soap or was it like a regular like doctor drama?
It was like the first of all, it stars Billy Ray Cyrus still in his mullet era, so if that helps. But
which is the best Billy Ray Cyrus.
It's as if there was at the massive PAX skyscraper, there was a board meeting where somebody was just slammed down some papers and were like, "I have an idea." And they were like, "It's like ER, but lower budget and more dramatic." And all the
well, that's what I'm saying though. Was it like ER or was it like General Hospital?
It was like a combo of both. Lower the budget and turn up like the saxophone induced dramatic parts.
Saxophone induced dramatic parts. Now you know that I'm gonna have to go try and find some dramatic saxophone music for
dramatic sad saxophone music that's used for trans. You know, honestly, I might have made that part up, but it's what I want it to be.
Or it's like the end of Law and Order episodes when they have that like one little run that plays at the end and it fades out. But
yeah, so anyway, the show Doc, which was like just a really bad hospital drama starring mullet Billy Ray Cyrus fresh off Achy Breaky Heart, and I brought it up to, like, my wife and I are roughly the same age, so I brought it up to her this morning because I randomly thought about it, and she's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And I was like, "You didn't watch network TV?" She's like, "Yeah, we didn't even have cable till I was in high school." I was like, "Then you had to have at some point accidentally came across Doc. Like, there had to have been a point where like you're at your parents' friend's house or something, like, yeah, put the kid in front of the fucking TV and Doc's on."
Wait, so what was your favorite local TV network as a child?
Depends. Are we talking Saturday morning?
Okay, yeah, so we do have to do it in kind of a few different stages, right? You've got Saturday morning, you've got after school, and then you've got general daytime.
Okay. Saturday morning, there's
only one right answer for Saturday mornings, by the way.
There's a hard line between Kids WB,
which is the right answer,
and Fox Kids. Here's the thing.
No. Not even close.
Dude,
not even close.
Dude, we agree, but did Kids WB have fighting food-ons? I don't fucking think so. Do you remember? Okay, so Kids WB was like, we got the good ones. We got Yu-Gi-Oh! We got Pokemon.
And all the superhero stuff was on WB.
And all the superhero stuff. But Fox Kids was like, fuck, we need a Yu-Gi-Oh! How about Fighting Food-Ons, which is a food-themed monster
What did Fox Kids turn into? Because it was on KDFI, here, which was like the local.
I think it just went away. I literally think it just went away.
Because isn't that the one that had like Bobby's World on it and stuff?
Yes, yeah, and
yeah, Bobby's World.
Dude, there was so much, and I think like Gumby was on it when we were kids. Maybe no. I remember that because my sister and I used to have extreme arguments about, are we going to watch Bobby's World or Gumby? And I was like, fuck you. I was 3 years old and I was like, fuck you, bitch. We're watching Gumby. Shut the fuck up. I was 3 years old.
Which, go back now and watch Gumby and don't have the audio from the show on. Just turn the sound off and watch Gumby and see how terrifying it is.
The reason that I'm such a psycho now is because of my affinity for shows like Gumby as a child. And my sister's like, I'm a normal kid. I want to watch Bobby's World. And I was like, listen up, bitch.
Dude, I tell you what though, did you ever watch Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the YouTube thing?
What is it like? Are you afraid of the dark? But for YouTube?
No, it's like one of those like horror, like you remember how Marble Hornets was a thing and stuff like that. It's like a horror like thing on YouTube, but it was and if you haven't ever seen it, it's really good. You should watch it. It was like a kid's show, but like really, really weird shit would happen as the episodes would progress.
Is that the one that had that weird like claymation, like just creepy shit?
So they go like in between different styles, right? Like it starts as like character people in costumes, and then like the animation will go to like the shitty like 3D animation from like 2001 and stuff like that. Like there's an episode where like I think they're inside of a computer or something, and it's got like shitty 3D animation or whatever. Dude, you have to watch it.
I've never heard of this. Yeah,
it's so good. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. It's from like a couple years ago. I want to say I don't remember when it came out, but dude, I love Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I love shit like that though. I love like the weird like YouTube horror stuff that just kind of has its own little story to it.
Yeah.
And they don't last long either. That's the thing. I like the ones that are shorter.
Well, that's how you get hooked, because then you'll watch 4 hours of it.
Yeah, because Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is only like 5 episodes, I think, or something like that. But dude, it's so good. They have like songs and stuff, because it's supposed to be like a kid's show. So they have like songs that they wrote to put into the show, but then like usually during the song, it'll just devolve into just absolute psychotic mess.
Is it under the guise of a kid's show, or is it like a adult show that's creepy, but it's framed as like as part of what makes it creepy? Is it supposed to look like a kid show?
Yeah,
or is it,
yeah. Because like the thing is that it is a kid show, but it's like, you know, obviously it's a adult oriented like horror thing. But nah, dude, it's so good, and it gets so weird. Like every episode is super weird.
So you Patricked, by the way.
Did I?
Because there's one thing that Kids WB didn't have that Fox Kids did.
Which is?
So, transitionally, what do you have? Maybe some special effects? Cool. On Kids WB. Mm-hmm. A dumbass frog.
Don't talk shit about the frog.
Stupid frog that like, oh, I'm going to dress like the Peanut Man. And I'm going to, no, top hat frog. Not fucking funny. What did you have? Did you have PSAs that look like they were made as a high school film project? No. Did you have, you gotta stop, breathe, count to 3, teach you never not rage out?
I remember that one.
Because there was one where it was 2 kids playing video games and they had 2 paper plates of pizza. And it was brother and sister.
Yeah,
and
very standard childhood.
The brother or the sister or the friend steps on the brother's pizza and he goes, why'd you step on my pizza, lame-o? And they're like, lame-o isn't even in the dictionary. And they were just about to start fucking shooting each other.
What if as soon as they stepped on the pizza, they just started swinging immediately?
Just fucked up. We should remake that. But got my boobly.
Got the glass topo for you.
And there was also a couple more, but it was always like, for some reason, it was Fox Kids always had PSAs about controlling your childish rage. I love that. It was always about like, don't fucking beat the shit out of your friends in elementary school.
Hey, that was good for me though. I was a pretty angry kid. Well, I was an angry preteen into teenager. I was an angry kid.
But I also think that those carried the term lame-o into the next generation, because I would have never remembered the term lame-o. And they all had like the middle part hair and probably like a leather jacket or something.
So you're gonna give me the Fox Kid bullshit, even though WB is the correct answer for Saturday mornings.
WB's programming elite. Now, did Fox Kids get the great value version of that? Which I don't want to hear. I want only respect on the name of Digimon, please.
I had a Digimon VHS, by the way. It was like the first 3 episodes, and it was the best shit ever. I'd watch it on repeat all the time.
Did you have a Digivice?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dog, I had a Digivice. You know what else I had?
Dude, I never did the toys for anything. Like, I think I had maybe, like, the only thing that I really got toys for was Star Wars. Like, because episode 1 came out when I was, like, 7 or something like that.
Just have a closet, like a drawer full of Tamagotchis.
Well, dude, I had, oh, shit. They had like a communicator. Do you remember that? Like the little thing that he like checks his midi-chlorians.
Yeah.
I had that, but it was huge. And it had like little lines from the movie in it and shit. So you just press it and it would be like his midi-chlorian count is off the chart or some shit like that. But no, I didn't ever get like the toys for even like. I collected cards. I did the card collection for Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, but I never got like the. I mean, so Dual Disc was a little bit after my time because I only really watched the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! But, like, I never got the Dual Disc. I never got the glove with the stars on it. You remember that?
Yeah.
I never got any of that. I just got, like, cards and shit like that because I'm a fucking nerd.
We used to have this saying where, because we were all, like, off sleep and half of us were, like, Adderalled out and hungover and stuff, and we were working at the Drake place. Sometimes if we could smooth talk it enough and if the client was in such a hurry, we could turn like a 6-hour job into a drop off, which normally we would have to set it and do grueling manual labor. If we turn it to a drop off, we've earned ourselves several hours of paid labor, but we don't have to do any of it. So sometimes if we just were like, they'd be like, oh yeah, if you guys could just, we got about 3 hours so you can get started. And we're like, fuck, we're not going to get home till tomorrow. We'd be like, oh dude, well, if you're good at it, which all of us had the talent after a while, but it was like, well, if it's easier for you and your crew, well, we can just go ahead and drop this off, and you guys, it's super easy to set up. I can show you how it works, and then we can just be out of your hair. And sometimes you'd be like, oh yeah, I can get my crew to do that. And after a while, all of us started saying that they stumbled into our trap card.
Or do the not this time Kaiba.
Like, not this time Kaiba.
Which for you youngins, not this time Kaiba is the equivalent of the Uno reverse card, basically.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So if you guys are tired of the Uno reverse card meme, you can just hit him with a not this time Kaiba.
And we would just be like, we'd be just so tired, be like, I like half asleep, like I slapped on my motherfucking Dual Disc and they stumbled into my fucking trap card. But back to Digimon real quick.
Well, we haven't even gotten to what you would watch after school. We only did Saturday mornings.
Oh fuck, we forgot the bit. Another bit by Apathetic Podcast is forgot the bit.
Ruined it.
So morning, first of all, the last thing I'll say, Pokemon evolving, they turn into a light, they evolve, boring as fuck.
Digimon digivolving every single episode.
Digimon digivolving every single episode. Dude, there was an opera guy that goes, change into digital champions to save the digital world. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions.
So what we're doing right now is we're causing a divide because what you're saying is that the Digimon theme song is better than the Pokemon theme song.
Okay, I will say this. Kids WB kids, probably all graduated college, have good jobs now. Fox kids, been to jail at least once.
If you were into Digimon when you were a kid, you've been to jail for sure.
Dude, I'm saying I was a blend of both. So sometimes I'm an angel. I can be your angel or I can be your devil. Dude, I fuck with Kids WB and I also fuck with Fox. Sometimes I like to dip my toe in the naughty side and fuck with Fox Kids a little bit.
Here's the thing, though.
That sounds so bad. Enjoy Fox Kids.
The main reason that Kids WB outdoes Fox Kids, though, is not Pokemon. It's Static Shock.
There was like
dude, the little Romeo rap at the beginning of it.
Superhero Static Shock.
Yeah, dude. That's my shit. Static Shock is the best. That's a great show, by the way. If you haven't ever watched Static Shock, you're
Static Shock goes hard as fuck. So for afternoon programming, even Stevens was on Disney.
But we're talking about network TV, not cable.
Oh fuck.
Because here's the thing, I know my answer. My answer for absolute, even into my older years, was always PBS, because you can do anything else while PBS is running and enjoy what's on PBS.
Dude,
Arthur Dog.
I was about to say, go watch Arthur, man. I was going to say Toonami and be the elite of this entire thing, but then you
Yeah, Toonami isn't obvious. But, what are you going to do if we both had siblings, right? Mm-hmm. Your sister has the TV downstairs that has the cable on it. I had to go upstairs to the one TV that we had upstairs that only had the local channels. I'm going to watch PBS.
Well, the problem with, you're not bad, which is good. Network TV cartoons, great. The problem with After School Kids WB, which wasn't bad, but it was just reruns. It was never
all
new.
reruns. But everything was all reruns.
Dude, Cartoon Network, Disney, and Toonami Toonami was Cartoon Network, but had such good shit that this is really fucking my shit up. I guess I'll just fuck it, PBS, After School. PBS.
Yeah.
What's what was the next category?
The next category is like daytime. So like if you stay home sick from school, what are you watching?
Oh, please, dude. What was one that played Everybody Loves Raymond all the time?
I think that was KDFI.
Dude.
No, but here's the thing. I remember KDFI for like when you stay home from school because they would play 10 episodes of Happy Days in a row, and I would just watch Happy Days all day.
Happy Days.
I loved Happy Days, and they would. But like, here's the thing though. I'm so split.
Just you, a child at home watching Happy Days. You
watch all the time.
Fucking freak.
I'm split though. I'm split though because I loved watching Happy Days, but Happy Days it would be like 3 episodes, and then they would go to like Bonanza or some shit, and like I didn't want to watch fucking Bonanza.
You are an old man and a child. Like, dude, imagine me like, hey mom, if I eat all my macaroni and I eat all my chicken nuggets, can I please watch Happy Days? And she'd be like, what the? Yeah, sure, fuck.
I just wanted the happy life, That's all it was.
Happy Days, happy life.
Happy Days, happy life.
Okay, so daytime programming. So it would be.
Also, I will say that I did like UPN.
Was UPN the one that would play a current event?
No, UPN was like Martin and shit like that.
And like the Wayans brothers and shit? Or?
Yeah, like I think they play like reruns of Moesha and shit like that.
So I really watched like whatever played shitty sitcom reruns, so I'd watch it. Dude, the deep lore on Everybody Loves Raymond, man, I'm there. And Deborah! And fucking Current Event used to play, so it's like I would be like 13, like the redo of, not the 80s one or whatever, but the redo of a Current Event. And I remember just being like my voice is cracking and like I'm getting like my first like mustache hairs and I'm like, man, what's going on in Katrina? That's fucked up, man. Like, yeah, okay, FEMA. It's just like, and I'm like a child just watching way too much Current Event.
Now, here's the ultimate test though. Do you remember all the numbers for all the channels when you were a kid?
Okay. These are the cable ones, okay? Mm-hmm. And I remember them because they all went in a line. So there was 36, 64, and 42. 36 was Disney, 64 was Cartoon Network, and 42 was Nickelodeon.
Yeah, absolutely. And 64 was Comedy Central. I learned that later on in life.
Dude, you just hacked into my fucking brain because... and then I think 43 was MTV or 45?
No, MTV was farther down. 44 and 45 were TBS and TNT.
Dude.
But the local channels, 13 was PBS.
33 was... WB.
27 was KDFI.
14
and 21
was Fox Kids.
Fox Kids came on KDFI.
What was KDFI? Was that 21?
Because KDFI, it was Fox Kids when we were younger, and then it turned into the 4Kids stuff, I think, later on. Because it had like the Sonic... you remember the Sonic animated show?
Yeah.
Yes. It had that shit on it later on. But yeah, it was 13 was PBS, 21 was UPN, 27 was KDFI, I remember 27, and 33 was WB.
Yeah, but I only remember that because it was WB 33 locally or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just lined up with ours. I remember I used to watch this. It was like a 20-inch screen, but the TV weighed about like 70.
Oh yeah,
70
absolutely.
Fucking pounds.
My TV when I was a kid, like, God, it had to have been 13 inches maybe. It was so tiny.
You're officially okay. So you're either almost 30 or above 30 if you ever have one of those TVs that has I think you said like the 14-inch screen, maybe smaller, and it had the built-in VHS at the bottom. That shit went hard as fuck.
See, mine didn't even have the built-in VHS.
Oh, dude, what a man! Your whole childhood's fucked up.
Mine didn't even have like the what do you call them, like the VGA cables or whatever, where you could plug stuff into the TV. I had to do it using the cable connection, which was the only thing that was in the back. I had to unplug it from the wall and plug it into the VCR.
Dude, I beat Halo 2 split screen, by the way, with my friend Kale on one of those tiny little built-in VS. And it's just funny because like back then, like now it's like, oh, if you got $100, you can buy like a 50-inch TV. Back then it was like that little TV was like $100 or $200.
I thought it was the best shit in the world.
Oh, dude, I was like, no fucking way. But I can't believe you didn't even have those cables, which is just like...
Dude, but I was so hyped to have that TV though, because my sister did not have a TV in her room. I was allowed to have a TV and a computer in my room when I was a kid.
Oh, so you're Ferris Bueller?
Which is why I'm a fucking introvert and I don't like to leave my room ever. Because I did everything as a kid in my room. Like, I'd go out and play and shit like a normal kid. But, dude, everything I ever did was inside of my room.
I remember having that TV going when I started, like, becoming a teenager. And I remember sitting in my room, just laying in my bed, which for some reason I slept on a futon for like 7 years or something. And
I had a loft bed, which is a bunk bed that doesn't have the bottom.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And I remember sitting in there watching like whatever network TV on that small TV and listening to like on some beige shitty computer speakers, listening to Discovering the Waterfront by Silverstein and just being like, oh, my life sucks. Like, and I grew up in like a middle class family that, we went on vacation every few years. Like it was like, I just like when you're a teenager like that, I remember that TV, always that TV just brings back me sitting there one day and being like, well, it was like just the saddest.
See, it's funny though, because I know that my parents never had to worry about me as a kid because they could hear all my shit playing at the same time. Because I'd be playing it. I used to play this game on my computer called Heroes of Might and Magic constantly. And
that sounds like something you play based off the title.
I would have that turned up. I would have the audio from that turned up, and then I would have this little radio that was like it looked like a little hand radio, and I would always have that playing The Edge, like back in the day when The Edge would only play like Nirvana songs. In my diary of and Breaking Benjamin, and I would have that. I would have that turned all the way up as well. So my parents could hear me actively playing Heroes of Might and Magic while also listening to the radio, and they know exactly what I'm doing for fucking 10 hours out of the day.
Dude, my parents are never there. Like it's a wonder that I didn't get into more bullshit because they weren't even living there half the time because they were because of my parents' jobs. They had like a whole different house.
Yeah. Now, I had a different experience as a kid though, because my childhood home was not my high school home. Like I moved out of my childhood home where I lived from like, I don't know, I was like 2 when we moved in there until like 14. And then during high school, we lived in the house that you've been to, which is my parents' current house.
The one that's way the fuck out there?
Yeah, the one that's in Mansfield. And so that was a completely different setup. I hardly watched TV during high school. Like the only things that I would ever watch on actual TV during high school was Comedy Central in the afternoons used to do reruns of Scrubs. And I watched Scrubs like every day for probably like 3 years at least.
That made me go back and watch, like whenever I was in, I guess I was working at Quest at the time. There was one point that I just spent like a week marathoning through that as much of that show as I could.
So the way that most people are about The Office, which I am too. I mean, I've watched The Office like 10 times, but I've watched Scrubs probably 10, 11 times all the way through. Like to the point where I could like, if you started talking about an episode, I could tell you how it finished type of shit.
We lived by that show for a bit.
Scrubs is the shit.
Okay, so that covers morning program, afternoon programming, daytime programming.
But we didn't even go into cable.
Oh, dude.
See, cable's dangerous, though, because there were so many options
First of all,
in the cable days.
Did you ever have not network cable, but pre-digital cable, where it was just the cord that plugs into your TV and you can power flip?
Of course.
And do you remember watching the TV guide for like 15 minutes at a time, waiting for it to scroll back to the channels that you have?
No, so here's what I did. I had all of the numbers memorized, and then after a while on remotes, they would do previous, where you can like flip to the previous channel immediately. Like, you can go between two channels. And so I would I would go through all of my channels first, see what was on, pick 2 shows that were on that I'd want to flip back and forth during the commercial breaks, and I would just flip back and forth between those 2 during the commercial breaks. And then when that show was over, I would go to the next. Like, I would keep cycling through my normal channels, and then whenever I would find something, I would just flip back and forth during commercial breaks.
But then you have to strategically make sure, like, if you want to check something else, you have to refix the setup where the right 2 channels are in the background.
Bitch, this is I was not playing checkers, motherfucker. I was playing chess as a child.
God, people are just like, all right, I'm turning this podcast on. This is so fun.
Oh, everybody did that shit, though. Like, you can't sit there and tell me that you did not have this experience. If you're even remotely near our age, this is like I guess we were pre, like, not pre-internet, but pre mobile devices.
Yeah.
Like, if you were a kid pre-mobile devices, then this is absolutely what you did.
We still had dial-up internet too, and that, man, there's a whole different thing I can get into there.
Yeah, dial-up internet was rough. But dude, some of my best like childhood memories, though, honestly, are like either sitting at my computer playing that game that I was talking about, or like playing my Game Boy downstairs while somebody else was watching TV and I was just listening to it in the background.
And that's really big. I remember laying on the couch in my parents' living room and bragging to my whole family that I beat Mario in 30 minutes because I used the warp zones, dude. I had the lime green Game Boy Color.
Me too.
And I
still have mine,
dude. I fucking found it I was going through some old shit and some boxes my parents gave me.
I'm pulling this bitch out because I still have mine,
dude. Okay, well, while you're doing that, my parents gave me. My dad was like, "Hey, can we keep a couple boxes of old stuff at your house?" And I'm like, "That's fine," because they moved into an apartment. And he brings 16 boxes of things, which is my entire attic. And then one of the things I opened up had a small box in it that said Patrick, and I cracked that open, and it had. You had the lime green one too?
Yes.
Dude, and I cracked open the box and had it still worked perfectly too. Dude, mine was like time capsule though. Like, I had not touched it since I was 9.
Fuck, I lost it.
Lost it. Who still has their Game Boy? Patrick!
It is here somewhere. I swear it is here somewhere.
He's lost it. It's funny that he's lost his.
It still has my Pokemon Yellow in it.
So mine, I think, still has the same game in it, but guess who didn't lose theirs? I'd like to sing you all a country song about me and Christian. Hey. Patrick still has his Game Boy.
These are Pokemon cards.
That's all you've got. Don't cling to your loss with a box of Pokemon cards.
No, I have it. It's here somewhere.
Patrick still has his Game Boy. Christian lost his like a little bitch.
I am torn inside because I could have sworn I knew where that fucking thing was. It's gone forever.
So I opened up that box that had the Game Boy in it, right? Flawless condition because it hasn't been touched since I was a kid. I lost it at one point. Or no, I got a Game Boy Advance and just threw the old one away. Not threw it away, but put it in a box. Also, you know what was in there?
Nothing.
A Dragon Ball Z card that was signed by the guy who played adult Gohan's voice. Met him at Lone Star Comics in Arlington.
That's dope. You know, they recorded all that shit here, I think.
Yeah. What are they called?
Funimation.
Funimation. They're in Dallas, yeah.
They're actually I think they're in Flower Mound, which is like right up the road from here. It's like next to Grapevine, basically.
Do you think they'll let us do a tour?
At Funimation, let us do a tour.
A pathetic podcast.
Goes to Funimation.
Oh, God. So, all right. So now that we've nerded out about shit that only we care about, well, I'm going to fire off the real quick ones for cable. Morning. I didn't watch any TV in the morning, so I don't have one before school.
I didn't do before school.
I would watch like Cribs on MTV if I was. Afternoon, Toonami. Elite. Our era had brand new episodes of Dragon Ball Z that still had the blood. So that for sure. And then nighttime, I'm still watching Seinfeld and Everybody Loves Raymond, baby.
See, well, nighttime was family TV for me. So it was like ER. Lots of ER.
Full House.
Full House was a constant, though, because... that was another channel, ABC Family.
Oh, dude, S Club. There ain't nobody like an S Club. Gonna show you how.
Yeah, that was definitely a good one.
Look at Joe, she's got the flow.
And that was they played Full House like all day, every single day for a long time. It was like that and Family Matters and what's the one with Step by step. Oh, dude. I was thinking about this the other day, how like your memory will store something that you completely can forget about for 15 years at a time and then just like that jingle I've not thought about. Was that the jingle that ended like
Make it better every time around.
Yeah, I think that was that one. Because what was Family Matters had a good one too. It was the Days Go By.
I don't even remember that.
You don't remember that one?
I remember the show, but I don't remember that jingle at the beginning.
Dude, you didn't watch enough Family Matters then. You weren't an Urkel fan?
Huge Urkel fan, okay? So back the fuck up. Massive Urkel fan. Dude, whenever, what was his name? Stefan or whatever?
Yeah, Stefan.
Dude, Stefan's sexy as hell. Nobody realized it was Urkel. Dude.
I need to watch those episodes again because, like, thinking about it now, I realize how fucking weird that shit was. Because he made a contraption that made him cool.
Yeah.
And that's how that character existed.
And then, yeah, I don't really... A lot of times, my mom would be really weird about watching too much TV until she bought me one.
Nah, TV was like my babysitter for sure for a long time. But I didn't have consoles when I didn't get a console until I was like 12 or 13.
Dude, my mom was super anti-video games, so me getting a Game Boy alone was shocking. And then later on, like whenever PS2 had already been out for a few years, I convinced my parents to get me a PS1.
That was well, I got a PS2 after it had been out for a few years.
Well, I
and here's
got a
the thing,
PS2.
though. You know what game cemented me being able to get a PS2?
What?
Kingdom Hearts. Because my parents were like, "Oh, it's Disney characters. You can play that."
Dude, I used to play. Dude, I never thought about this. When I got that PS1, that was the first time that I was exposed to something that was more like, I guess, my introductions to like punk and stuff. Were because those soundtracks were so fucking awesome, and I never thought about the fact that that's probably what got me started.
The Tony Hawk games.
Yeah, the Tony Hawk. I forgot to say. Yeah, I forgot to say the Tony Hawk games.
Yeah, the Tony Hawk games.
So I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater for hours on PS1.
Tony Hawk introduced me to a lot of really good bands. Alkaline Trio. My first Alkaline Trio experience was Tony Hawk.
Dude, they had like I think like the Casualties and like Rocket from the Crypt and shit. Like,
oh yeah, I remember one of the games had it was when My Chemical Romance was like, it was pre My Chemical Romance getting super huge. They had a cover of Teenagers from Mars.
That had to have been on like Underground.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Underground 1 had the cover of Teenagers from Mars by My Chemical Romance, which I really like that cover. Teenagers from Mars is by Misfits, by the way.
God, they used to have like the American Wasteland games had like a build your own character thing, and we used to give them stupid names. I can't remember. Not worth talking about. But yeah, so I had a PS1, and then later on, I eventually got a PS2. And I like honestly, I really wasn't a big gamer until like I guess whenever I got in early high school and like the Halo games were really popping. I finally got for Christmas I got an Xbox 360 and just became the biggest Halo fan of all time. And really Halo and like Fortnite are the only games I play.
So
anymore.
Let me ask you this: when you first got your PlayStation, did you have games that you finagled your parents to get you, but you really shouldn't have had in the first place, based off of their rules?
Yes and no. Like a lot of ones were like I would be like, hey man, you can come spend the night at my house on Saturday, but bring Metal Gear because there's that one scene where the girl takes her clothes off and you can look. So like there was things like that, but like really there was one point that like my parents really became, because my mom kind of had a second career later in her life, so they reached a point where like they were really strict about that kind of thing until like basically my sister was grown because she's way older than me.
Oh yeah, there was a big drop off for me too.
Dude, there was one point that they were like, all right, you're fucking good. So they just stopped watching completely.
Yeah.
But
see, for me, it was my mom specifically always had this rule that she didn't mind me playing games necessarily, but she didn't like when it was people shooting people. Like I could play Halo all day long because it was people shooting aliens technically, but she didn't like me doing people shooting people. But when I was 12, I think, when I first got my PS2, one of the first games I got was Medal of Honor Frontline, which is a World War II game.
Dude, fuck yeah. Oh, dude, just fucking people up. And then if
you haven't played that game, by the way, for anybody who's never played that game, by the way, it takes you through, if you've ever seen the beginning of Saving Private Ryan, you basically play that whole thing.
Oh, dude, it's well, I guess now, because back then those are cutting edge graphics and now they aren't.
Yeah.
But and like Medal of Honor really got pushed to the side once the Call of Duty boom happened. Like I think after the first Call of Duties were popular, but I think it was like COD 4 that it really started just fuck all the other military games. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Because I hit the Halo stride after that. I didn't go the Call of Duty route. I went to Halo. Whenever Halo 3 came out, I played Halo 2 pretty frequently, but I didn't have a regular Xbox when regular Xbox was a thing. But dude, Halo 3, I played that constantly.
The Pit is the greatest map of all time. Everyone that disagrees is a buffoon because it's a great placement of power weapons, and it's just a perfectly balanced map.
Love Halo 3.
Well, I mean, so anyway, lots of things that people aren't going to care about, but us there.
This is just a nostalgia, a nerdy nostalgia trip for everybody. If you're not, not down to ride the wave with us, then
fuck off.
Yeah, I can't defend you. I can't defend you from Pat's attacks.
So this podcast is before we get into other things, this is a nostalgia trip. It's about nerdy old things. If you don't like it, fuck you. Get hit by a bus. But, dude,
I'm sorry, I can't defend you. Normally I would say, Pat, that's too far. You can't say things like that.
Normally threats put you in online jail. Don't care. It's just fuck.
I'm sorry.
This is a threat.
I'm still the disappointed parent, but
I'm too old. You can't control me anymore.
There's a certain point when you just
I'm above
can't,
18.
Yeah, you can't do anything.
At some point, you can.
He's got his own car. He can drive himself around. I can't stop him.
I'm legally. I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want. So you can be disappointed in me, but I can make a threat to everybody online. You know what? I don't care if it puts me in Facebook jail, Twitter jail, YouTube jail. I don't care.
Hashtag unsent to Gladbag, everybody.
Hashtag unsent to Gladbag. This is when sending Gladbag from Twitter makes a threat to the internet. Okay, before the FBI is kicking my door down. Yeah, Patrick made some legitimate threats.
Yeah, I was watching that Apathetic podcast, and one of the hosts was telling me that he was going to find me. And then
yeah, and how? Oh my God, are they popular? It had 3 views. Anyway, dude, speaking of Twitter.
Oh God.
No, okay, I'm not going to do a spiel about following me on Twitter, but follow @SentAGladbag on Twitter. Recently I had a bit with a friend where it was a friend that I knew wasn't going, I made a bit, it was a joke about going to a local event, and it was me telling a person that I'm not going to that fucking event with them. Mm-hmm. And I'm friends with the people that put on the event, and a lot of them know me, so I figured that they would know that it was coming from a joke and not insulting their grind. Because, hey, regardless of your demographic, do your thing, have fun, get paid. That's an awesome job. But I found out that, while doing that, I noticed that a bunch of people that I've known for a really long time, or people that I know that interact with that, just stopped talking to me, unfollowed @SentAGladbag on Twitter, @SentAGladbag on Twitter.
Devastating.
And so I noticed that, and I guess I had talked to some of them, and they really were thinking that I was being like, fuck your event. And I totally wasn't. But it made me realize something, on a serious note, it made me realize something about myself. And that for some reason, because I mean, dude, that literally, I'm so, every bit of success those people have had, I've always been, hey, I like your music. I'm proud of your success. I've always been,
supportive.
Yeah. Because I mean, they're people that I knew, and I knew them before they were doing that, you know? And so, and not just them, this is other people that other stupid jokes I'll make. Cause sometimes I fire stuff off without thinking about how it could be taken. Cause I'm literally never coming from a bad place, but for some reason I'm built differently from you and the rest of all of my friends, especially in the music scene, where if somebody sees me in the wrong way because of something that's not accurate, which isn't their fault. I'm not blaming them, but if somebody is fuck that guy because they didn't get the full context or they felt attacked by something I was saying, I get really bothered by that, and I feel like I need to justify and be no, it's not like that. And most people can just be fuck that.
That's just the dangers of the internet in general, because you can't express sarcasm via a tweet.
Well, that's why people get mad and over text all the time, because dude, if I say, I'm not fucking going to this event with you, I could see how it was what's wrong with the event. But also, if you know me, you know that I'm not literally never coming from an insulting or bad place unless it's a friendly poke,
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess what I don't get, and you're a good perspective on this because you are completely different from me, where you're all right, that's your problem. But
I also don't post on Twitter. So,
well, I know, but in general, even with people, if somebody is I really because I think about so many times that even people we've been friends with or people we've been in bands with, people will be yeah, that guy's an asshole. And I'll be no, they're totally not. You really have the wrong idea. Mm-hmm. I hate when people have that wrong idea about me. shouldn't give a fuck at all. But I'm very bothered by it.
Well, here's my thing is like, it's not necessarily that I don't give a fuck if people think I'm an asshole or anything like that. I mean, I kind of don't. But my thing more is like, I'm like, I don't know. It's like, so I boil basically everything down to individual relationships, right? Like even like big topics, politics, whatever. I boil it all down to the individual relationships that I have, meaning that I base my actions and things that I say based off of the individual that I'm specifically speaking to, or if my actions would reflect upon or upset people that I care about. And what I mean by that is like, if somebody I know got offended by the word mustard, right? And that person would very adamantly be upset if I said the word mustard, I would go out of my way to not say the word mustard. Now, if people in general got upset about me saying the word mustard and nobody who I knew directly got upset by it, I wouldn't really give a shit, because I don't really care about like public opinion or whatever. Well, it's more like I really care about like if I'm going to upset somebody that I care about. And even when I do upset somebody that I care about, because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't say stupid shit all the time, I'll go out of my way to make sure that person is okay. But if I upset Joe Blow Twitter handle, I don't give a fuck about that person. I don't know that person. No offense to you if that bothers you, but like I don't care. I don't know you. I don't give a shit if you hate me. Like,
you and I also have a different threshold for how much we care about a person. Like, for example, if it's someone that you've known in passing, it's not really going to bother you. If it's someone that I've known off and on throughout the years, I care about that person and I care about how they feel about me. And it's not so much like I'm worried about like, oh my God, my public opinion, because that, whatever.
Well, yeah. My field of who I care about is very narrow. Like if you know who you are, if I care about you, you know who you are.
Well, it's like pretty much everybody I've interacted with over a period of time, even if they're not people that I text to be like, hey, how are you? Even if they're people that don't have their number.
I don't actively talk to anybody.
Well, and honestly, I just do on Twitter. But like, if it's somebody that I've just over years have had some form of relationship with, whether it's in passing, whether it's through music, even if it's not somebody that I check in with regularly, I care about them. And so I also feel though that like, it's weird because I have like these two parts of my brain. One side of my mind is like, oh no, why do they think that that's wrong? And then the other side is, if they know me, why would they let that? Sure. Why is the context not seen there? And that like dichotomy, I guess is the right word. Right. But I think it's like I'm fighting with myself about it.
I think one of the things that you do though is, so I separate people out by like, people I don't know at all, who I don't give a fuck about their fucking opinion. People who are acquaintances, like people that I know but I'm not necessarily friends with, and then people that I'm close to. Those are like the three different distinctions. Yeah. And I think you hold people who you know but you're not necessarily friends with to a higher standard than I do.
Jimmy Green gives me shit for that a lot. He says you give people the benefit of the doubt way too much, but also too, man, like,
I mean, you can give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's like it's more a matter of like you give weight to their opinions more, I guess is what it boils down to, or you give weight to how they think or how they feel more, as opposed to me. If you're an acquaintance, I'll do my best to not offend you, but I really, at the end of the day, if you're like, oh fuck that guy, I'm not going to talk to him again, I'm not going to get broken up about it.
It's just like, I guess the way I work is like, if it's somebody I know, especially, so say it's somebody that we know from we used to play shows with or whatever. Yeah. And I saw one of them say, and it's someone I know, and I know how their brain works, and I know their humor, and I've been around them for years. If I see somebody say, I'm not going to watch a pathetic podcast with you. I'm not going to listen to that fucking podcast with you. I would just be like, well, fair enough, whatever, and then I know also where that person's coming from. So I know it's not an attack on me or what I'm doing personally. It's literally not even an attack on the podcast itself. It's literally someone just making a goof at another person. Now, if I were to be like, dude, fuck that mother. And honestly, if it's not someone's cup of tea, whatever, not your cup of tea, who cares? But even so, like, I could see where it would come from if it was a complete stranger that was like, dude, fuck that waste of time people. I hope they fucking die. Fuck waste. You know what I mean? Fuck those waste of time people. I hope they fucking die. All this shit. That's different. Not that I would personally care, but I could see where it'd be taken that way. But if it's somebody you should know where they're coming from, and that's me placing too much fault on those people.
Yeah.
And not enough on me. I should be more aware, but it bothers me way more than it should if somebody's like, because I would hate there to be a conversation where I'm not there. And most people don't give a fuck about this type of shit, but
you'd be surprised.
Like for there to be a conversation where I'm not there and be like, oh yeah, that guy, fuck that guy. Now that other person who doesn't know me is like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, I'm really like, we could be friends. You know, I don't know, man. It bothers me.
Yeah. See, I think that's like, and that's the thing with me is like, first of all, I write people off a lot easier than you do. Like if you burn a bridge with me, fuck you. I don't give a shit. You burnt that bridge. Secondly, I like when I am close to you, I'm like extra, I guess, sometimes with my loyalty towards people to where like, you know, if you're in that group with me, if you're in that realm with me, I'll defend you till the fucking end unless you do something absolutely horrible. Like,
and not like an argument. Like I'm talking like if you steal from me or something.
Right. Right. Like even that, you know, and like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I've been wronged by everybody I fucking know, but I've definitely had some like situations where I've forgiven people because of the loyalty level. But like when you hit that fucking threshold with me, right? Like when you go beyond and you hit that point where you cross the line, I can drop you. Like I don't care. I can drop people easily.
Yeah. And I want to make it clear to maybe the two people that might watch this, but like you've known me for a very long time. So you know that this is not about some social media thing because I don't care about
it's relationships.
I make a joke. I joke about my Twitter and plug it a lot in Twitter and what the fuck ever, but it's really so not about that. It's you know, you can confirm that I've always been that way.
Yeah.
And it's because I just, man, I'm maybe it's like an anxious tick or something, but and it's funny, like I'll talk to some of the guys that you know, shut up, Fake Links World, that we're running Fake Links. We have the admins all have a constant conversation going, and I'll ask them about it, and they'll be like, "Dude, who gives a fuck?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but just hear me out for a second. Y'all are built differently than me." And
right.
And it's funny because I will, and I wish I wasn't this way, but I will let stuff like that completely unravel me until it's resolved, until I've like justified it.
Right.
Man.
No, I mean I've sat through the hours and hours and be like, man, why is it got to be like that? So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I think everybody's wired differently anyway. So there's plenty of people who think the way that you do. I think you're just around a lot of people who like don't give as much of a shit, or at least give the appearance that they don't give as much of a shit. I mean, because like even me, you know, I can't, you know, I'm over here saying like I don't care, blah blah blah, but in reality, like I do get upset, like from an exclusion side of things, right? Like if I feel like people are excluding me, I get upset the same way anybody else would and shit like that. And maybe it's not necessarily about talking about me, but it's like, you know, I can feel that sense of like, you know, why do they even talk to me if I'm not really a part of this group type of shit?
Well, like let's take it and put it on, and so I'm glad you say that because it makes me feel a little bit less crazy because I know I'm more an extreme case per usual.
Yeah.
Don't want to be, but that's just how it is. Say we take it and we blow it up to the most extreme. Like say that someone said, not the most extreme, but let's say that everybody thought you were a racist or a Nazi or something.
Yeah.
You literally, like, if something is that big, way bigger scale, you can't be like, fuck, I don't want everyone to think I'm a racist. You know, I don't want to think I'm a, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's like on a smaller scale, it's the same thing. It's not something that's like, because I do exaggerate when I talk. It's not something that's keeping me up at night, but sometimes like, man, that fucking
right.
kind of fucking sucks, man.
Yeah. No, I understand. And I mean, for stuff like that too, when it's like a bigger scale, like if something were to happen and like we were to be considered racist or whatever, based off of what we say here on the podcast, I'm sure that would be a completely different scenario for me. It's just for me, I limit myself so much. Like I limit myself on everything as far as interactions and emotions go. Like that's part of the reason why I started doing the podcast in the first place, was because I felt like I wasn't like, expressing myself, maybe is the right way to say it, but like I don't healthily express my emotions, or like I don't healthily like let people know how I'm feeling.
That's kind of how it started. Like sometimes I feel bad, almost like I just completely ruined that, because whenever it started, it was a really
we still
good
talk
way.
about it.
Yeah, we still talk about it. But like I remember when you started this, it was almost like it was like, all right, this is my space to unload thoughts. And then I came on here and I was like 90, like,
But I mean, those are my thoughts too, and I think that's like why, I don't get upset about like the super. I do the whole like disappointed parent thing, but it doesn't actually bother me, because like that is part of my personality too, and like like we're talking about this like deep shit right now, and like every once in a while if we get deep and we talk about it, I think that's fine. But once again, like before this, I wasn't letting any, like, dude, can you name 10 times where I told you how I was feeling about a situation?
Not really, because a lot of times you would just brush it off as you fuck that.
Exactly.
So I mean, and you and I, there was always times where we'd have those conversations, but it wasn't like something we would do regularly.
It's so specific to a situation, and it's always going to be some like deep ass conversation. Like, it was always going to be something like that. So yeah, I mean, I think we kind of went off a little bit on it, like on this whole thing, but no, I think it's I think what you're saying is definitely like, it's valid. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's not like you don't have to feel crazy about thinking like shit like that, which I've told you that before. But
yeah, there's part of me that no matter what, no matter how genuine I know you're being, there's a part where I'm like, you're my friend, so you have to say that. But like, I mean, I think too, it's like I know deep down that it doesn't make me crazy, and I know that it's just like, for some reason, like, I don't know for what, because it's not that I don't know who I am or that I'm being a fake person. It's that for some reason I need to be validated a lot and not feel like I'm a crazy person, or I will spiral out and guess I'm a psycho. But I'm just like, and that's just kind of where my head's been lately. And I guess I've kind of touched on this jokingly whenever we first did an episode, I think 3 or 4 months ago. But I'm like, and I know I'm more outward about this on Twitter, but I'm also like, I'm in a bit of a head trip right now because my sobriety kind of messes with your head a little bit. So sometimes like I'll just be on like a memory trip, or I'll just be starting feeling real stupid about things.
Which, that is what it. I feel like most people get that like mode to where like they'll be thinking about shit and they think it's stupid or whatever. But hey, you're valid. Your thoughts are valid. Your emotions are valid. Just say it. Just tell somebody what your emotions are, and I bet you'll feel better about it.
Yeah, and the problem is too, is that kind of the default in what we teach people, especially what we teach kids, and I know it's different now, like in the, I guess, the Zoomers or whatever you can say, is that like a lot of people, like, you're trained growing up to not confirm that shit, not feel that way, not say anything about it. So it's like, it's not like I'm just like, oh, I just need to cry it out in a room where Enya is playing. It's not that. It's that sometimes I'm more of the type to be like, hey guys, this is making me feel a certain way. Anyone? And everyone's like, right. I'm out on that, and I'm just like, fuck, like either my brain is completely different from everybody else's, or everybody else is just like hiding it.
Well, and that's why I did it in like, my whole thing was in a podcast format, because in a lot of ways you can get people like, if anybody were to watch this and like respond to it and say like, oh, I feel that way too, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I feel like with this format, I don't need it, because I'm just kind of like putting it out to the ether. And if anybody wants to understand me, all they got to do is turn on my podcast and watch it.
Yeah, and it's also like, I mean, it's kind of like the same concept as putting it on paper, because sometimes whenever you're just kind of tossing something around in your head, and then you get to see that manifested in some way, whether it's on writing or whether it's on recording or whether it's in conversation, it'll completely change the way you see it, which actually, even our old band had songs about not going, but later on I started going to therapy. And it's so funny how shit that should be so obvious when you're thinking about it in your head. He would, the doctor, like even myself, just saying stuff, they'd be like, well, maybe you think that because of this. And I'd be like, oh shit, that should be so obvious. And it's like, just that alone. It's not that they're like, and how do you feel? It's that it's just one person who's there to kind of be like the tour guide through your own brain. And those are my words, not the doctor's. It's funny how like you'll realize stuff almost, even if you're just like with you, just talking to a microphone about it, it can sometimes change your perspective and help you think about it better.
Right.
But whenever I put that out there and I need response, it feels weird when I get crickets and makes me feel crazy.
Right. And I think that, but I think that goes to show too that like there is different, there's different forms of like, I'm not a fucking mental health professional by any means whatsoever, but I think there are like different forms of therapy, like for different people, and I think different things work differently. Like for me, the reason why I feel like doing this is more comfortable than like going to a therapist or like talking one-on-one to somebody is like I am not comfortable like looking somebody in the eye and like laying shit out. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've never been comfortable with that. I think like, we can go into like why that is or whatever. I don't know 100%, but like, yeah, like looking into somebody's eyes and being like, oh, this is what's wrong with me or whatever.
No, yeah, I mean, that's not what I was, you know what I mean though.
Right. Yeah. But I'm just saying like to the point of this conversation, I think, and like to put out there into the fucking internet is like, if you feel like shit, not necessarily just Pat, but if anybody feels like shit or feels weird or whatever, like you do need to take the time to find your own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be therapy. It could be music. Music was what it was for me for years. It could be a fucking podcast. And like, you just got to figure that shit out.
Well, and that's part of it too, because like I probably failed and missed a big point here, which this was not a conversation about me. It wasn't trying to make it about me or relate to only me. It's something that that I struggle with a lot, and I notice that people a lot of times, sometimes even more behind closed doors, will be more open and honest about that. Yeah. And so it's like, it's something that I just kind of put out there because like if I just leave it at, like it was crazy to me how something that should be so small, like well, whatever, they feel that way and they just don't get it, then whatever. But it's me being like, I need to give that person the credit and be like, maybe it's not their problem. Maybe it's something that I'm doing and I got to figure that out and solve it. But it's like I probably would live a lot longer if I just like, but if anybody else says that, y'all aren't crazy. Yeah. It's whatever. Not about, I'm not trying to just make it, I hope that you understand, I'm not just trying to make it about me.
Right, but you can't really generalize things without giving the individual experience.
Without the individual experience, it's not going to really hold anything. It's like reading a textbook. Right. So that's why I kind of try to, and maybe part of this is, because we talked about like justification, maybe part of this is justifying the way I am and putting it out there, almost like a disclaimer that I should just like wear a shirt of or something. But maybe like a corrosion shirt that's split vertically and one side is cream colored and one side of I don't. On that side note, I don't always use humor to cope. Sometimes it's just I like humor, but
yeah, we're goofy people. We like to be goofy, but we're also people. And I think that's sometimes that gets lost, right? In personas and like even so like going back to the whole like being on the internet and Twitter thing is like at the end of the day, even if that when you look at it on the screen is just an at or whatever, it's just ats in a glad bag.
It's still
a person. That's still a person behind there somewhere. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't really do like the whole internet thing that often.
I'm making it. You realize, by the way, that the whole thing about I have a very small amount of followers, and that's just a meme. I'm not really like honestly.
If you don't understand that that's a joke, then I don't. Why are you?
If you can back this up, but if you go watch or read anything I post online, that's something I would say in person to anybody. So
yeah, for sure. But I think that's just like, I think that overall, like my whole like viewpoint on the internet in general is just like at the end of the day, there is somebody behind that, and like you got to understand that. If you don't get what they're saying, it doesn't mean that they mean what you think it means. Well, which that doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, I know what you mean, but like also at the same time too, I have to force myself to remember that, especially specifically in any form of music Twitter sphere, there are a lot of people that will say things they don't really mean or just or they really will have this personality that is that only. Right. But they are a real person behind it. But like I could see how it can be seen as being full of shit because there is so much of that honestly, the more when you're just shotgunning assumptions, that's going to be the more correct one when it comes to anything online because, but I don't know. I could go in circles.
I definitely understand where you're coming from, and I get it. I feel like most people do understand that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I don't think it's like, I don't think anything that we've said today is like super crazy news. I just like sometimes it is nice to just kind of like talk about it and just say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I've definitely been back and forthing that for a while. And then with the people that I talk to mostly about it are like, dude, it doesn't fucking matter. And I'm like, I know it doesn't matter, but it does to me because I'm this way. But I will be more willing to admit that I am the way I am than I used to be.
Yeah.
Which is why every time we do a podcast or around, we put Fast Forward to 2012 by Day to Remember on in the room, and we clear all the stuff out, and we just, we mosh it out in the room because my friends come first. And
we disrespect our surroundings.
Speaking of which, sorry for the spine-shattering topic change here, but you know that song that's on the radio right now by Papa Roach? It's like, I think I need help.
I've heard it. I've heard it.
I wanted to, and this one I mean, take this however you want, internet. But a few years ago, I think it was 2014, 2015, Papa Roach started putting out straight up like long t-shirt bow patow music. Do you remember this, dude?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
There was a song called Falling Apart where like it started out with the and I was like, oh, this. I was like, and they started touring with like all these Warped Tour like metalcore bands stuff, and I was like, dude, they're about to have the second comeback as like a rise core metalcore band. I was like, this is gonna be fucking so badass because it would be such a weird fucking direction for a butt rock radio band to take to, and they did it good. It wasn't bad, and to me. And then I listened to that song, that new one that's on the radio, and I'm like, y'all, this is y'all's fault. Y'all didn't appreciate this enough. We could have had long shirt bow patow, long scallop t-shirt bow patow Papa Roach, but instead y'all didn't appreciate it, and we're right back to the Scars era, everybody. But you didn't understand.
And on that note, we're going to go ahead and end this episode. This has been a roller coaster ride of a fucking episode today.
Yeah, this is what it's like being me. At some point, I'll probably just shut down completely because it's a bit of a neck snapping splattering experience. Seinfeld. My life is an episode of Seinfeld, and I'm Kramer, and every character is Kramer.